Hello and welcome back to the Reapers. So today they finally got me in a Viggen. I didn't personally think it would ever happen. They had to literally buy it for me and force me to buy it. In fact, that was AJ. Thank you very much, AJ, if I haven't thanked you already. But that means we're going to have to learn it. We've got blood here, we've got coffee here. So what can go wrong, really? So let's see how things... Oh, no, my apologies. This week's thanks I have to do very quickly. Thank you for the PayPal from Gordon Turner, Australia. Thank you for the PayPal from Alan Alphonse. America? Think America. Thank you, Maury Silverman. You know who you are. PayPal. Our new, I think, American, Eamon O'Leary, for your patronage. And Adam Chandler for Patreon. Many thanks, guys. Okay, let's crack on. What do we do, Blood?
Right, so today is split into three parts. We have part number one is just a cockpit familiarization startup, and we're going to do some touch and goes, some circuits, just get some feel of the aircraft and practice landing it. Part two is we're going to do a simulated bomb drop. So we're going to set our altimeters to 1,000 meters to pretend that that's the 0 meters, and just do some circles practicing dropping our bombs. And then afterwards, we're going to land back again, equip some of the bombs, and actually drop them.
I'm now in the cockpit. Let me have a quick look and give my first impressions. There is a joystick. It wiggles. There are rudders. They push.
Right, so first of all, we're going to go a quick tour around the cockpit. We won't look at all the individual buttons. We'll maybe point out some key ones, but show you general areas. So, if we look all the way over to our left, behind the seat, you should see a little slot. That's where the data cartridge goes. We have two levers, just working our way forward. The left one is the AFK, don't have to worry about today, and the right one is the gear. We have a panel on the side, which is the sidewinders, but you don't have to worry about that because you can bind some keys to it. At the bottom, we have some dials. They are for changing the cockpit lighting, which is very nice at night. And if we continue working our way forward, we have the radios. And then you see where there is the sort of the small black joystick. That whole panel there is the radar controls. So you don't have to touch them most of the time, but you can adjust them to, for example, change the Doppler so it's sea instead of land, and some small little tweaks. The important panel, though, to the left near the cockpit wall is the engine control panel. So we've got the throttle there, and we have the electric power, low pressure, fuel valve, generator, and the start switch. So we'll be using that in a moment. If we carry on working our way forward, you should see a panel with two sort of knobs in the middle and a set of buttons above and below them. That is the radio control panel. So that's for like setting preset frequencies. If you look just sort of to the forward left corner, you've got some dials there, yeah. The one closest to you is the trim. So that's the elevator trim. So beforehand we'll be setting that to 3 degrees nose up, so that's just something to watch out for. If we look just above there, it's kind of tricky. You may have to lean down with track IR. There is the landing light switch. It's possibly the most annoying switch to get to.
Yeah, no shit. Okay.
Okay, working our way across to the front panel now. We have the reverser handle. You pull that out, it'll activate the reverser. We have the radio to adjust them so you can change the frequency.
Oh, that's actually easy. Wow, an easy radio. I can't believe it.
Yeah, it's dead easy to change. If you go above from there, that's your primary airspeed indicator.
Hang on, so that 200 knots? No, 200 clicks.
It's all in kilometers an hour. You'll notice it's done on a logarithmic scale, so you see the gap between 200 and 300 is quite large, but when you get up to, you know, 1,000 and 1,200, it's quite small.
Roger, I don't suppose that matters. You just look for the number.
Yeah, because obviously you want quite a lot of control when you're landing to judge your speed, but you don't really care if you get in 1,500 or 1,000, 1,050. Above that, you'll see three sort of green buttons. The one on the left is Schbuck, which will always be enabled, so you don't have to worry about that. And then the two to the right of it are your autopilot. The middle one is attitude, so that just points the aircraft to wherever you're currently pointing it, and the top one is the altitude hold.
Hudge must mean altitude then.
I believe it's hold. It might be altitude, I'm not quite sure. If we carry on working our way up, we can see Hudvarvarning. Apologies if I butchered the Swedish there. Coffee might be able to help us out a bit with that.
Or not.
Hudvarvarning.
There you go.
That's the one. So that is the master caution. Press the middle one to cancel. Just to the right of that, you've got the AOA indicator. Very important, because if it ever goes over 20, you start to potentially get compressor stalls, but we shouldn't have a problem with that today. Heading down, we've got your artificial horizon. Down from that is your altimeter. So the other key number with this is you see just below the altimeter there are 4 digits. That's the QFE setting. So you need that in order to make your bombs work in most scenarios. So basically you have to set that to whether the QFE is at your target, and it works.
Metric, is it?
I can't remember what. I think it's not in.
It's hectopascals.
Hectopascals, yeah, that's it.
Okay.
It's not in parts of mercury. Then if we carry on our way up, you see where the HUD is. Just to the left-hand side of it, there's a little sort of black lever. If you press it, it'll put the HUD into an up and down position. So down is for the sort of low-level flying, up is for general flying. Working our way down, we've got the radar screen. We won't go into the details of it, but the key thing is you can see the compass around the outside, and you've also got the... Can you see the little sort of yellow tray? That's where your next waypoint is. So if you line up that with the middle, it means you're heading onto target.
Roger. But how do you know which waypoint you're on?
We'll come to that in a moment. So if we carry on, we've got the Slav SI and Huj CISEI.
Hang on.
That's basically...
where did you go, right or down?
Go right and up.
Yep. Okay.
So two switches there. One on the left basically switches the HUD into a low altitude mode. That needs to be off most of the time. And the other one is to switch between the pressure and radar altimeters. And that's going to be an LD, which is the pressure one for most of the flight. Then we have some backup instruments. We've got backup artificial horizon, backup if we're heading down here, backup altimeter, some engine controls we don't really need to worry ourselves about, and also there's a backup speedometer there, but again, don't really need that. If we come all the way over to the right, you should see a sort of black box. That is where the next waypoint will be displayed. I'll show you when the actual aircraft's booted up. The two dials below that we have firstly distance to waypoint, which is in kilometers, or if it's greater than 40 kilometers away, it switches to mil, which is Swedish miles, and 1 Swedish mile is 10 kilometers. Below that we have the fuel gauge. Dead simple. 100% is internal, and if it goes up to 128%, that's because you've got an external fuel tank attached. Heading down from there, we have some engine dials on the right-hand side, and the little red lever is the oxygen lever. We have, you see the panel with the data panel selector and the sort of 9 digits. That is the CK37. We'll go through that in a bit more detail later on. It's the flight computer. On the right-hand side, sort of at the wall of the cockpit near the bottom, is the waypoint buttons. So B1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, etc. So if we want to select a waypoint, just press whichever one we want. If we go up a bit, so you should see 2 black dials. One is the weapon selector, and the other is the weapon interval selector. So if you want to select a weapon, just put it to the appropriate setting, change how far you want your bombs apart, job done. Some other switches you don't really need to know about at this point, and finally we have the countermeasures panel, which is just below. If you see where the CK37 panel is, keep heading down, and finally there's 4 switches at the bottom, which are the lights. So there we go. That's pretty much all we need to know. So to start this aircraft, we're going to do a path through the cockpit, just as we've done pretty much. So let's go back round to our left.
There's one thing we missed off. On the right of the HUD, there's a cylinder, and I don't like the look of it.
Yes, that is for shooting Mavericks, but we won't be doing that today, so...
How fucking weird. A tiny little thing.
Yeah, basically you have to sort of... It's like a sort of monocular, I suppose, or a telescope.
No wonder you can't hit stuff, Blood. It's tiny.
Yeah, there's a technique to it, let's just say that.
Roger. Okay, next.
Okay, so let's go heads all the way to the left. And back down you see where the data cartridge slot is. Click it, and it should put a data cartridge in there.
Hang on, it's kind of hard to get to it, isn't it? I'm trying to just get to it.
Yeah, it's a little bit tricky in Checker, I imagine.
Is it the lever that wants to fall down, the ray gun?
You see there's 2 levers left hand side sort of behind the seat. Keep going a little bit further back, you should see a sort of a white little box. Click it, and a black data cartridge should go in.
Cartridge in.
Good, and now let's keep going forward. You should see 2 levers. The one with this sort of copper plate needs to be up, and the other one needs to be down. Keep working our way forward. And we want to go to the engine control panel, so you see where the throttle is and lots of nice switches. If you look to the front left, you will see one labelled main electrical power switch, assuming you've got tooltips enabled.
I haven't got tooltips enabled, but we can find it. So let's put put balls at that big red switch. Where do I go? I've got generator.
Yep, keep heading up. So the one that says at a start, we don't keep going. There's one switch above that, which is the generator. Turn that on, and you see there's two switches with sort of little barriers on either side of them. But switch both of them on.
Pow.
Should start bleeping at you.
Okay, we've got bleeping.
Right, you see the hood VAR warning. Press the middle button, it'll cancel the caution.
Stand by, going up, and pow, done. Right,
now you see where the throttle is. Click it once, and it should move forward just a bit. That's the high pressure fuel valve.
Is the throttle the black stick?
No, not the black one. Go left, there's sort of silver with a sort of bronze
you think
tube coming out of it.
I'm trying to click it and it's not letting me click it, which is
you need to click sort of near the cockpit wall.
Got
you should go forward one.
Now, wow, it's now
excellent. Now, if you go just forward of the throttle, there'll be a switch there with two little trays, two little walls either side of it. Click it.
Hang on, sorry.
And noises should start happening.
I've missed that last thing. The two walls beside it, they're already on. I've turned them both vertical.
Okay, head down from that one. You should see just above the throttle. There's a switch with two walls that run horizontally or vertically. Click it.
Oh yeah, stuff's happening.
Right. And now if you go up, can you see there's a sort of silver handle on the side of the cockpit? That's the canopy open and close. Click it, push it forward, and the canopy should come down.
You can easily catch that with your sleeve and open your cockpit. I can see that happening.
Yeah.
Bad Swedish design. Oh.
No, you can see when it clicks forward further.
Box.
Okay, that's the engine started.
Right, I've got to go redo that in my head. Data cartridge in, pow. Check that, it's up, pow. That is down, pow. Check that, hang on, concentrate, yep. We need to then press generator left, that up. Then we had to uncage the throttle. Then we had to click that, which is the start of the motor. And then cancel an alarm up there, and that was it. Okay, that was easy. Now what?
Yep, so we're going to continue our path around the cockpit. If we just go to the right of the engine start panel, you should see a black sort of turn dial. It currently says BER. You want to turn that one click to nav.
Done.
And if you just look forward, your HUD should be activated by now.
Kind of, yeah. It's a bit gay.
Yeah, it's sort of slowly booting up at this point because we didn't do the ground power, so the engine's sort of turning the generator over. Okay, continuing forward, and we should go to... Can you see? Remember I pointed out that little panel that's sort of in an awkward place? There's a button there. If you press it, it should start flashing at you everywhere. It's the...
Press it. The button, yeah?
Yeah, there's a little silver button.
Not the switch.
Not the switch. The switch doesn't function actually. The other one.
I pressed it. It didn't do a lot. But do you want me to hold it?
Yeah, hold it down. You should see flashes everywhere.
Yep.
That's the. That's just checking that all your warning panels are all working.
Roger.
Next, I think the landing light's on by default, so we can leave that. Check the thrust reverser is in, so it should be in if there's no red colouring. You just click it once, you'll see the red bit. Yeah, press it in, and it'll go in. Marvellous. And then we want to check that our artificial horizon has no warning flag. So before there was a little red flag. If that's gone, that means the AC power's working and we can carry on with our checks.
Yeah, no flag.
Next one is altimeter. You want to twist the knob until it reads 0 on the ground. By default, should already be 0.
Where's the knob? Looking for the...
So it's sort of bottom left-hand corner of the altimeter.
Okay, I've made that 0 now.
Yeah, so if you twist the other side, just see what it does.
Yep.
And then we want to come up to the HUD, check it's in the down position. I just click it once so you can see what it does to go up and down. Can you see on the side of the... Excellent.
Done.
Just check the radar, there's no warning flags there.
The radar is completely off.
Yep, it's off, but there will be a little red, I think it's a red and white tag pops out if it's broken.
Roger, and the waypoint thing is down south?
Yep, that's fine.
Not south, but down, yep.
The next thing we're going to do is the Slav SI switch. That needs to be to F, which is Fran, Swedish for off.
F off, Roger.
And the other one needs to be to LD.
Roger.
So we're basically setting the HUD so it uses our pressure altimeter rather than the radar. Excellent. Carrying on down from there, we want to cage the artificial horizon. Should already be caged. There's a little button in the top right-hand corner. Press it, and it'll cage it.
Are we back to the left panel for the artificial horizon?
No, we're on right-hand side, so this is the backup.
Roger, I've got nothing.
It's only a tiny little thing.
I've got nothing to press there, though.
It should be bottom right-hand corner.
Roger.
Yeah, it'll turn green. Carrying on from down that, just check the backup altimeter below the backup artificial horizon is on 0.
Backup altimeter is currently on 0, yes.
Excellent. This isn't a check, but you know when I was talking about it'll display your waypoint, you should see LS written in that little black box now.
Roger, IS, but I'm sure that's LS, yeah.
Yeah, so that is whatever waypoint you're on, whether it be 1, B2, B3, etc. It'll display there. LS just means you're currently at home, you haven't taken off yet.
Roger.
And as you can see, the distance to waypoint is 0, because we're currently at our waypoint. Fuel is 100%. Let's come down to, you see a little red oxygen lever, flick it up.
I'll need that. Done.
And now we get to explore the joys of the CK37, so we will just do the very basics. So turn the dial until it says Ref Lola.
Stand by. Okay, it's giving me a code.
Okay, so what this is doing is Ref Lola basically is reference longitude, latitude. So if we want to input waypoints, this is where we do it. But first of all, I've got cunningly put a plan already in place, so we're just going to upload that from the data cartridge. Can you see the switch that says in and out?
Yep.
This is saying, do we want to input data, do we want to output data? So in this case we want to input some data, so flick it in. And now type the code 9099. You'll notice the 0 is slightly off where the rest of the buttons are, it's just below the data panel selector.
Okay, done.
Right, now what we're going to do is put that into the computer and confirm it. If you come across to the right, can you see all the buttons that says B1, B2, B3, etc.? If you go to the bottom, there's one that says LS, SKU.
Okay.
Click that. And you should see the 9 is flashing on the display.
Copy, and now it's back to 0s.
Right, that means that you've successfully uploaded data from the data cartridge. Now we're going to go to out and act pause. So whenever you're not fiddling with the CK37, always put it to out and act pause, because that means your navigation system will work.
Roger. This is like old school computers. When was
this is.
But the AJS was 90s. So
yeah, but it still has the original CK37 computer in it. It works pretty well once you get used to it. Just you got to learn a few codes is all, but. Okay, what we can do next is weapons, but we're not carrying any weapons today. We'd then also check countermeasures, but we don't have any countermeasures, and we'll turn the lights on.
Lights down at the bottom right. I find them really hard to get with my track IR, but tell me what to click and I'll try and do it.
You want up, left, up.
Left, up. Roger, done.
Okay, now we'd normally turn the ground power off. We can use the ground power. Which we haven't, so that's good. We'd make our radio call, and yeah, we're all good to go. In fact, one thing I've forgotten, you look up and right, you should see a black lever on the seat. Click it, and that'll put your ejection seat.
The black lever on the right?
So you got to turn right around. It's basically on the top of your seat where your headrest is.
On the right or the left, sorry?
It should be on the right hand side. Sticking out, it's fairly...
How interesting. Cap doesn't have an ejection seat by the looks of it. Let's try left.
It's a big black lever, if you look up and right and back where your headrest is.
Hello, and pow, it's now in.
Excellent, we're all good to taxi.
Roger. Okay, let's taxi. Go, go, go. The HUD is just, all I've got is a fucking horizontal line with a few vertical lines. It's not much.
That's all good. It tells you a lot of information, you just don't know what it's telling you at the moment, unfortunately. So what we're going to do is we're going to take off, and we're going to do 2 left-hand circuits with touch and goes, and then do 1 more and land.
Okay. I feel that this HUD is too low. I'm going to go and check my track IR. How low is your line on your HUD in like percentage? How low on your HUD is it? Feels like it's too low.
It's fairly high up for me.
No, I'm going to redo my track IR. If mine's like almost invisible at the bottom, and it feels wrong. Just get that.
Is it invisible at the bottom or the top?
Okay, it's
so is it disappearing off?
Doesn't matter. I've done my track IR. That's fine now. Right, you guys taxi.
Cool. So we're going to do circuits are going to be left hand. So we're going to climb up to 300 meters. Keep an eye on your altimeter.
What's the spool?
Then we're going to make a.
So you want to, isn't it?
Yeah, you want to take off probably stage 2 afterburner. That's where we do most of our formation takeoffs.
Is there anything you have to do to put the afterburner on?
Nope, just put the throttle forward and you should hear clicks. And you'll see there will be 1, 2, 3 lights will appear just to the right of your radar.
Hang on, I'm going to test that quickly. Radar.
Oh my god, Cap in a Viggen.
Yes,
Can't believe
I
it.
know. Okay, I found the afterburners. Sounds good, doesn't it? Sounds actually a decent sounding plane in DCS. Amazing.
Oh yeah, the sound engine in this is incredible. They took recordings from from the actual aircraft and recorded them and stuck them in.
F5 is horrendous.
Every switch, every click, even the wah of the
spark.
canopy. No, the canopy closing.
Okay. No nozzle steering. I like that. Okay, Cap is on left echelon, ready to go.
Okay, so for this purpose, I'll be 1, Cap, you'll be 2, and Coffee be 3. We won't do a formation takeoff. We're going to take off one by one into the circuit.
We haven't done our trim.
Yep. Put trim up to 3 degrees.
Stand by.
It takes a little while to get up. So one slight issue with this is you have to put a lot of trim in initially, but it's pretty good once you get it roughly in the right place.
Okay, Cap is on 3 degrees, trim, nose up.
Yeah, you may find you need to just tweak it a little bit. So, we're going to just do stage 2 afterburner takeoff. Wait maybe 5-10 seconds between each person. And
Before we go, align our navigation.
really?
Reference
it. Alright. Cap, you know that reference button I told you to program?
Hang on, so we're back on the 37 module?
No, it's a button I told you to bind to your HOTAS.
Yes, pressing it. Ready?
Press it once. Done.
Okay, change the radar slightly.
Yeah, just basically update the nav system.
Roger, ready.
Okay, so, yep, climb up to 300 meters, left-hand turn, on the downwind, make sure you focus on getting your height, heading, speed. So on you just focus on cycling through, am I the correct height, am I the correct heading, am I the correct speed? And if any of those things are wrong, just adjust your power, heading, roll, etc.
What speed and what height are we going for?
300 meters, 500 kilometers an hour.
300 meters? I
Yeah.
can't fly that. Oh, no, it's meters, right, yeah.
Yeah, meters, not feet. But we'll be flying much, much lower later.
Oh, I don't like it.
Right,
Roger.
okay, I'm going to take off, wait 10 seconds, and then 2, and then 3.
I'll be 3.
Cap, take 2, so...
Roger, Cap.
Teach
burning.
him how to use the attitude hold to help in the trimmer. In the trimming.
What?
It's easy if he just enable the attitude hold and trim.
Yeah, we're not worrying about that. So Cap, you want to rotate around 280 kilometers an hour.
280 kilometers an hour. Two rotate.
So Cap, yeah, just talk me through what you're doing.
2 gear up and checking. No, gear on going up. 2 gear up and checking. Gear not
You
going
should.
up. Onto the override. Override appears to be working. Yep, it's alright, I pressed G in
Down
the
at
end.
300 meters, leveling off. And rolling. You should see when your gear's up there are 3 green lights on the warning panel on the front left-hand side. If you can't see any green lights, it should be up.
Roger. There's
So what I want you to do going around the circuit is focus on, if you look at the HUD, you should see your horizon line, and there's the circle with 3 lines sticking out of it. That's your flight path indicator. Focus on keeping constant altitude by keeping that circle on the horizon.
Roger.
This is going to be absolutely vital when we do some low-level flying later.
In all the excitement, I've forgotten our speed.
500.
500, copy. Cap left.
And leveling off.
Circuit.
So yeah, around the circuit, if you find that the circle's dropping a little bit more back pressure. If it's getting too high, a little bit less back pressure. And just constantly looking through, what's my speed, what's my height? Am I heading in the right direction? Because if you actually fly properly, they have lots of these sort of work cycles. So whenever you're doing something, you're just flicking through all of the bits of information and checking it's correct.
My altitude has 2 needles on it.
The small one is, so that would be kilometers. You're looking for the long one, needs to be at 3.
Roger. Too high.
a little handy tip. If you press your reference button when you're at 300, you get your HUD indication to reference that altitude, so you can just keep your HUD, vertical bars accordingly, and you just keep your altitude easy.
Roger, I haven't figured out this. So what's the number on the HUD?
There's lots of numbers on the HUD.
I've just got one in the middle, 350, 340, 330.
That's your altitude.
Right, that's useful. Tally blood. Check speed. Speed is too high.
Lead on final. So when you come round the turn, keep it at 500 kilometers an hour. When you come out the turn,
shit,
just
capped it bad. I have accidentally put on, because it's on my joystick in a weird place, the thrust reverser, so I get rid of that.
Don't worry.
Okay, it's off.
The thrust reverser only activates when there's pressure on the wheels.
I'm going to do that a lot, I can tell, because of where I put it.
So just keep checking it before you land. In this case, because we're doing touch and goes, you don't want the thrust reverser on.
Sure. Is this a touch and go, this one?
It is. So when you're landing, I want you to put that flight path indicator on the threshold and use the throttle and pitch to keep the speed at 300 kilometers an hour.
300 is our touchdown?
It's sort of the approach speed, and then as you flare, you just let that come down to whatever it comes down to. So on the flare, all you need to do is put the flight path indicator about 1 degree below the horizon, and just let the aircraft gently touch down.
Are we not using the visual landing mode?
Nope. Because it doesn't really show you how... You don't need it. And this technique, if you learn it properly, you can land any aircraft in it.
Just saying the visual gives you a glide slope. It's easy to follow.
Yeah, it's much better to do it visually. Gives you more idea of what the aircraft's actually doing.
Gear down, speed restriction.
I think it's about 600. I've never been too sure. I always put it down below 500.
My gear down button doesn't work, so I'm override, and gear is now down. We don't have flaps. Speed check, 400 clicks. All is
so
right.
on that approach, you want to look. Is speed correct?
Yep.
Is my heading correct? Speed, heading, speed, heading. And if
good.
you find a bit fast here, you want to cut the throttle a bit.
Just sorting my trim out now. Gear double check, yep, down. Where's the 3 lights for the gear? Got it? No, where's the 3 lights for the gear for my reference, so I don't have to do
Left
that too.
warning panel.
See where the thrust reverser is?
Yep.
Look down from that, there's a big black panel.
Yep.
Should see 3 green lights.
Roger.
They've got writing on them, but you usually can't quite read them from where.
Struggling to see the runway over the HUD, it's very unusual.
Really?
Yeah.
Might be. Are you on quite a low approach?
Yeah, but also, because I'm going to do a different seat, everything's out of shop. I'm okay now. Feeling okay. Alright, how sturdy is the landing gear on 1 to 5 out of, considering all planes? Just wondering.
It's solid.
Alright, good.
So you want to have just your flight path indicator on the flare about 1 degree below the horizon and just let it come down.
Roger.
Because basically if your flight path indicator is above the horizon, you're going up. If it's below the horizon, you're going down. So as long as it's below, you're going to eventually hit the ground. Just depends how slowly that is.
Cap is touch and burners on. Bye. Perfect.
And then you should be able to pitch up straight away because you should still be around 300.
Gear up,
Do another
override.
circuit.
Check lights. Outside check. Gear is up. Burners on. Up to 500. Gotta get comfy in my seat again. Burners off. Middle power. I'm getting used to this now. I notice we're now on B1.
Yeah, we'll get to that later. Just doing some circuits at the moment. Part 2 is simulated bomb drops and navigation.
Okay. Somehow you've got miles ahead of me, so turning my left.
It's all right.
I'll take a bit of a shortcut.
Just fly your own circuit. Don't try and catch it with me.
If you've got a Viggen.
Cap, check altitude, you're above 300.
Whoopsie. I got a bit excited. We're up to 500.
So Cap, just keep focusing on your instruments. Height, heading, speed.
Roger.
And you want to go, right, I'm a bit high here, but my speed's also a little bit low, meaning if I pitch down, speed will come up, height will go down. So you need to constantly be thinking of how am I going to correct this error.
Height is good.
And if you fix the problem before it gets particularly bad, it's just a minor correction, so it's dead easy.
Cap, if you want me to be kind of a backseat driver for you and call out your errors, I can do that.
Go ahead. I'm slightly fast, struggling to get the speed down. It doesn't like to break this thing, does it?
Yeah, just be. You can be fairly aggressive with the throttle. Wow, you have put a very long final there, haven't you?
Is the velocity vector on the HUD literally a velocity vector, or is it something else?
So, particularly when you're near the ground, imagine it if you
I
were
mean
to
direction
touch,
vector. I mean...
Yeah, imagine if you were to touch nothing, that's where you'd end up eventually.
Roger. Yep, good. That's needed to
So,
know.
you want to place that on the threshold, and keep your speed at 300. If you keep both of those things in their correct places, you will have a perfect approach.
Roger, on it. Okay, this is a much nicer approach than last time. Cap 400 clicks and 200 meters.
So all we've got to focus on is just keep your eyes going from threshold, speed, threshold,
It's
speed.
just like an F-15 to land. That's what I'm feeling at the moment. Very like an F-15. Not much lift, but good HUD instruments.
How about to teach him how to use the auto throttle?
Nope, we're gonna teach him to fly the aircraft before we do any of that.
A little bit steep, but we're okay. 380 clicks. Going to do a nice big flare this time. And flare. And that's sinker down. Touch. Whoopsie! Cap damages airplane. Damn.
What did you do?
I just slammed the front gear down too hard.
Yeah, you don't want to slam it down too hard, just let it gently come forward. You alright? You able to take off again?
No. Okay, internet, you didn't see that. That's the important thing. Okay. Cassette in. Generate on. There, I got it now. Yeah, it just gets bugged on mine for some reason. Okay. Got that. Start a switch. Engage. Canopy close. Checking reverser, checked. Checking interior lights, warning lights, check. Cancel warning. She's powering up. This one, nav.
Yeah, so wait until your artificial horizon warning flag retracts, then carry on with the checks.
Copy.
Basically, that's telling you whether the AC power has come on successfully. You can speed things up a little bit by getting the ground power on before you start, but...
Does it do the ground power automatically?
No, you basically use the ground crew menu, and you do F2
so
on that and turn it on.
That's going to be important to remember.
You don't, it's not necessary. Once the engine's on, you've got AC power.
Is my engine on? It feels like it's on.
Is it making noises?
Yes, let me check
It
outside.
looks on.
Yep, that
There's
is
smoke
on.
coming out the back.
Right, uncaged that. Done. Now, uncaged, backup. Done. Check backup. Check primary. Check for warning lights. We're on LS. Are we doing 37?
Yep, so you need to do ref
Roller.
Lola.
Done. It's in. Landing lights. Pow, pow. Track IR is fucking up as usual. Might not. There we go. Left.
And ejection seat.
Line. Ejection seat. Glad we get the chance to use it. Done. Easy.
Right.
What if you're in an emergency scramble mission? What could you leave out there?
You could probably leave out a few checks, but I can get this thing started in a minute doing all of that.
Brakes off in 3, 2, 1. Gate.
Right, so the thing you want to remember before putting the reverser on is do not brake when going backwards. Otherwise you get a tail strike. So, you want to put the reverser on, put a squeeze of power, and then turn the reverser off, and to slow down you just put some throttle on. You're using the thrust to slow yourself down. Once you're no longer going backwards, brakes, job done.
The reverser on. Powering up.
Buster.
This vehicle is reversing.
Right, cut the power.
Power, don't brake. Ooh, I can see how that could be dangerous.
So what you're doing is just putting squeeze of power on, squeeze of power on. Don't ever keep the power permanently on. To stop, turn the reverser off, bit of power, wait till it comes to a stop, then apply brakes.
Yep, that's easy. You can do a tiny bit of braking, but not much obviously.
You can, but you'll feel the aircraft lurch back.
Roger.
Okay, take off, do a second.
For takeoff, so set trim. Cap is brakes on. Looking for our afterburner lights. And go! Oh, rudder's a bit sensitive.
Yeah, but you don't have to make any corrections. Even on a crosswind, the computer works out, it knows how much wind there is, so it just corrects it for you.
Cap rotate. See if I can get my gear working now. Why am I gear not working? So that should be up. Yeah, I'm going to have to just use the override.
One bit of advice on takeoff. You'll notice that all you want to do is put the flight path indicator on the horizon, and that'll give you a perfect 5-degree climbing attitude. Then once you're at a sufficient altitude, it flicks to normal mode, and you'll see that it goes suddenly to 5 degrees.
Oh, Blood, what's my compass? Is that the radar around? Is that the compass?
Yeah, it's around the radar.
Roger, that's nice and good. On my bad eyes, that's good.
Just a message from Auntie. She says raise your seat a bit, that might help with
Oh,
you.
thank God, because this thing is disappearing. Raise my physical human seat, you mean?
No, the seat inside the aircraft cockpit.
I don't know how to, I haven't got a clue how to do that. Right.
Right, if you do right Control S or right Control S is down, seat adjustment, right Alt S is seat adjustment up.
Hang on, I want down, so right Control S. There we go. I can see, oh right, I can see all new numbers now. Look at those numbers. Right, so that's something I've got to remember. Right Control S for a Viggen to be able to see anything. Oh, this is a game changer, Auntie.
So put yourself in a slight nose down. You want to be about 150 meters altitude when you come out this turn.
Roger, this is going to be difficult to get used to because I've suddenly got a massive different aspect.
For in a hold position, I'll reverse.
So all you need is that flight path indicator on the horizon. Put it maybe 1 degree below the horizon, and keep a nice turn. So then you do your height, heading, speed. So am I descending too quickly or too fast? Speed, am I still 500 kilometers an hour? Adjust the throttle. Heading, am I still 1 degree below? Am I still... You want to make sure you've... So keep looking at the runway to check... Oh, so you've maybe overshot a little bit, so you maybe want to correct there.
There I am. Right, okay, speed for 300. Bit more power. Height.
So you're quite far out at the moment, so probably go 400 initially. Only when you get a bit closer, switch to 300.
Stalling,
because
just to sort this out.
Yeah, just if you're stalling, put loads of power on. Get yourself out of the stall, then reset your approach. So you're quite far out here, so if you were to try and do that technique of putting it on the threshold and setting your speed, you're going to smash into the ground. So keep it level, keep flying forward, and when we get a little bit closer to the runway, we're going to actually then start using that technique.
Right.
Because you're on a very, very long approach here.
Cap, inbound, finals, a runway, 09 gear down, balls top. Someone do it, my gear out, Blood. They are on.
Yeah, he gets out.
100
So remember,
meters.
the flare is ever so slight.
Yeah.
Just be constantly thinking, am I descending a bit too quickly?
I'm
If so, you want a bit more power and just pitch up just a touch. This is good glide slope.
But
So
nice.
that flare is very gentle. Just put the flight path indicator 1 degree below the horizon and wait. So now's a good time to flare.
Cut.
Lovely.
And done. And burners
Oh,
on.
that was smooth.
Yeah, so you're quite far into the runway there, but it takes practice. You should be able to touch down right on the threshold of the runway. And yeah, land ridiculously short. But can you see the idea of you just keep that flight path indicator just below the horizon, you get a beautiful touchdown.
I wish short
every
planes
time.
had that.
They do. If you do that in most aircraft, it should.
No, we don't have the vector. The vector.
F-15 does.
Oh, right, F-15 and this, that's it. It's the only planes that have it.
Anything with a modern HUD should have it, like the Harrier will have it. I know the things that the F5 don't. But I think this is one of the first aircraft to have a proper heads-up display.
It is.
Yeah, this thing is seriously ahead of its time.
Gear down. On finals runway 09. Gear down. Full stop. Trim. Good vector. Right. Height needs to go. Height's good. Speed's good. Everything's good. Gear light
So yeah,
check.
as I said, when you're far out, put the flight path indicator not on the threshold but further into the runway, because you'll find that if you put it on the threshold now, you'll descend too quickly.
Yeah, got that. And power on. Don't stall it, man. Yeah, the gear drag makes a lot of difference with the power, I notice. So you've got to keep mil power, really, to keep 300 clicks.
Alright, so put the reverser on now.
Reverser is out check.
So the technique with this is don't cut the throttle on landing. Just let the nose wheel come down. Once it's down, a little bit of forward pressure. Once you hear the reverser come, you'll hear it, because the red light will flash on and the engine noise will noticeably change. And then once that's on, gently pull back on the stick as you slow down more and more and more and more, and that'll keep you stable. If you keep pitching forward, it'll go, yeah, it'll start weaving and you won't be able to control it. So land just as before, but we should slow down a lot quicker.
Gonna put a bit more dive in.
Yeah, just little adjustments. That's what this approach is all about. Approach is very good.
One degree. And
Let it come down. Okay, that's the rear wheels down. Let the front wheel come down. Just push it forward just a touch.
okay.
Bit more, bit more, bit more. When you hear the thrust reverser come on,
Yep.
centralize the stick. Apply power. Thrust reverser's not on. Right, full power, reverser off. So the reverser won't activate until there's pressure on the front wheel.
That's weird. Nothing. It just didn't work.
You just so was the thrust reverser out? Could you see the
It
red?
was definitely pulled out. I could still see the copper of the handle come out, so it was definitely out.
All right, you just need to. Yeah, you may need to be out of burner, and there needs to be pressure on that front wheel. So sometimes you need quite a bit of forward stick to make that pressure enough.
How do I know when the thrust reverser is activated? Have I got a light in here? Did you say?
Yeah, there's a red light right hand side that says look at my cockpit. Yeah, right hand side just above the waypoint indicator.
Right, so I'm going to be looking for that red light on the right. That's what
Yeah,
I'm
so the
interested
red
in.
light will come on and you'll hear a noticeable change in the engine noise. So when you feel the rear wheels touch down, bit of pressure pushing forward, let the front wheel come down, and then you should hear the engine noise change, red light will come on, and at that point you want to slowly start pitching back. Because as I said, it wants to pitch nose down and you want to sort of correct that. Otherwise it'll be horrible to control.
A slightly prettier approach this time. I should be able to land right at the end.
If you find it becomes uncontrollable with the thrust reverser, just cut the throttle and brake normally.
And preparing the feather. And the feather down to 1 degree. And got the touch.
Push forward, push forward, push forward.
Down.
There we go, right.
No, there's no red light.
Yep, no, keep power on, and pitch back slightly.
Okay, it worked. But there was never any red light on the right. So
Oh no, red light should come on in just a moment.
now the red light's on. So
Yeah,
what's
I
that red
forgot.
light for?
So red light means that you slow down enough, you should probably turn the thrust reverser off now and just taxi normally.
Understood.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Back I come.
So you,
So you can only do it by feel then. You have to do it by listening. That's how you know when it's
yeah,
on.
it's the engine noise really does change.
That's a bit weird. Okay.
But you get used to it and you know if it hasn't activated.